Hi there, I'm Kyle Geenen, and welcome to the West Michigan Minute Podcast. It's not a minute long, but it is a podcast. I am your West Michigan real estate agent here in Holland, Michigan, and this is our podcast where we talk about all things West Michigan. And today I am joined by two wonderful individuals from Zeeland Public Schools, Dr. Mendham and Brandi. And we're going to talk about Zeeland Public, the area, and everything in between. And I just appreciate both of you joining me today. So thank you so much. Dr. Mendham, if you don't mind, introduce yourself to our audience.
Sure. Thanks so much for having us. My name is Brandi-Lyn Mendham. I'm the superintendent for Zeeland Public Schools. Very proud to serve in that role. Just finished my third year in that role, but previously spent 7 years as the assistant superintendent for curriculum. So I have a deep passion for the community and certainly for the school district, and excited to share some updates with all of you.
Awesome. Appreciate you coming. Brandi?
Hi, I'm Brandi, and I'm the Director of Communications and Marketing for the district. Prior to that, I taught in the district at the high school level for over a decade. And so, like Dr. Mendham, I came into this new role 3 years ago, and my role is everything marketing and communications. So I get to celebrate all the incredible things about Zeeland Public Schools and our community, and all the incredible things our students are doing both in and outside the classroom.
Love it. Appreciate both of you coming today. I think a lot of us are familiar with Zeeland Public Schools, but maybe not to the degree that you two are. And so just appreciate you coming in. If you could give our audience a little bit of an overview of the school district and anything that's about the history of Zeeland Public Schools.
Yeah, we certainly have a lot to be proud of. You know, we have a district of just under 6,100 students. So a fairly good-sized district. We have an early childhood center, 7 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and 2 high schools. We certainly have a unique setup at the high school level with our 2 high schools on the same campus, really maximizing the opportunities for our students as they travel back and forth between the 2 buildings. Exceptional facilities. They are so well taken care of and supported by the community. So a lot to be proud of, definitely for the facilities that the students are learning in. And we have what I would say are truly some of the best educational programs and opportunities for kids within the system. We have staff that are entirely dedicated to supporting our students and making sure our families feel not only welcome, but partners in the work that we do together. And so just invite you in to take a look around. But really, I think what you see from how well we take care of the facilities to what's happening inside, you pretty quickly become a believer in it. I'm not from Zeeland originally. I've worked in a number of other districts, both within the state and nationally. And so I knew that Zeeland was a pretty special place from the minute I came here and moved my 3 children into the system. And so very proud to have twin graduates from last year and a son who will be a senior next year who's experienced all that Zeeland has to offer as well.
Oh, that's really cool. How big is the school district? How many students do you guys have? How many teachers?
Yeah, just on about 6,100 last count. We're not quite back to the numbers we had pre-pandemic. We did lose some students through the pandemic for various reasons. You know, some folks decided to homeschool or move out of state, those kinds of things. So we're still working to regain the enrollment we had at that time. And about 1,500 staff, I believe. Haven't looked at that count lately.
No?
We've been more, cognizant of the student count at this point, but definitely a lot of folks to serve.
Yeah, well, you guys have a huge district. Our area you've got Holland area, you've got the Zeeland area, and you cater to a large geographic area and a large demographic as well, too.
We sure do. Actually, and a lot of people don't know this, but our district actually covers 94 square miles. So it goes really far south into Allegan County, all the way up through West Olive area and north of that. So sometimes people forget how large a geographical area Zeeland Public Schools covers as well.
You made a great point. When they did a realtor get together, a couple months ago, and you guys showed us a map of your district. And I think all of us were like, we did not realize how much area you did and where it was exactly. So yeah, you have a large district, which is great.
Do. We appreciate that, but we're reminded of it greatly, especially in the winter months when the weather might look a little different at the northern part of our district than in what it does on the west side. So making those snow day calls is always fun because it's not exactly consistent. Well,
that you guys as a school district have to think about all that stuff. Not every geographic area has snow days, right? And that kind of a thing. I would imagine you're also pretty close with the other school districts in the area as well, too. You all meet together collectively, right?
Absolutely. We can't do this work alone, and we have an incredible collaboration within the region, within our ISD, but also across the 3 ISDs. So we're a Region 3 within the state of Michigan in terms of how they divide us up. So Ottawa, Kent, and Muskegon counties, we do a lot of work together in that regard as well.
Yeah. Give us a little bit of a background, if you don't mind, on some of the current initiatives that you have going on within your district.
Sure. Well, we launched this past year our strategic plan. We're really proud of that work. That took significant effort on the part of our staff, but also our community in terms of gathering stakeholder input. It had been several years since we'd had a strategic plan in place, and so we wanted to create something that would really be a 3 to 5 year plan that would kind of span all the facets of our district, not only our facility planning, which is incredibly important, but also instructional programming, staffing, all of those pieces. And so we brought a copy of that with us, but it's just really important to remember the work that's gone into it. We refined our mission and vision, and I don't know when that work had last occurred, but that was really exciting. Our school board launched that work in the very beginning and really just spent, I can't even tell you how many hours just fussing over every word in both of those statements to make sure they captured the essence of what it is that we hope to provide to our school, to our community. So those missions and vision statements were updated and launched the rest of the work for the district to carry through. And we've got a really solid plan that we're actively working through and providing updates on a regular basis to the board and the community of how we're making it through the 3 to 5 year plan.
I love that. No, you guys definitely have great team of people. You obviously have a great plan in place for the district. As real estate agents, we often get asked about school districts and what do we recommend and that sort of thing. And we have really great school districts all around our area. I would say yours has excelled in many areas. I feel like your athletic programs are phenomenal. I feel like your academics are also just incredible. What do you think it is that sets you apart? And what do you think, I mean, it's been years, decades, if you will, that you guys have done a phenomenal job in the area. What makes you unique?
That's a great question. I appreciate you took the words out of my mouth in terms of the great partners we have all around us. And we remind ourselves of that often, that we're situated geographically amongst amazing school districts, and families have choices. And we know that, especially when they're shopping for homes and trying to decide where they send their kids to school. And so that certainly motivates our work to make sure that we continue to refine and do the best job we can. You mentioned athletics and academics, performing arts as well. We've got just such signature programs across the district, across all grades. We also have a really wonderful opportunity with the Zeeland Recreation that partners with us, separate millage, but programming from toddler through senior citizens, a variety of things from, some hobby type programming to athletic programming to, again, fine arts programming through that. So just an opportunity I remember the year I moved here about a decade ago, and the previous superintendent had handed me a catalog of opportunities through Zeeland Recreation. And I just remember thumbing through this and I said, what don't you have? And that truly feels like it some days, that we really try to offer everything we can, and we take feedback from the community about other ideas that they have and would like to see. Once upon a time, we were the leaders around one-to-one technology. We know that the pandemic forced everyone to kind of move that way. Mm-hmm. So we've really refined our work in that regard. While that used to be such a kind of a niche opportunity within our system, being one-to-one with iPads once upon a time when they first came out, it's not so unique anymore, but we see a real need to get our kids back to having actual books in hand and learning the way that many may remember learning themselves. So try to strike that balance with technology as well as traditional instruction. So I think we're working to continue to get even better in that space, but just a real range of things that we're really proud of across the board.
I feel like I hear often that your students are winning awards. They're, excelling in, college preparatory type stuff. Mm-hmm. If somebody's new to the area, they don't know your district, what do you think they should know in regards to the opportunities you provide that maybe aren't necessarily unique to your school, but that you guys excel in?
It's a good question. I think the part that we do best is really try to provide something for everyone. And I know I have twins. I mentioned that earlier. They are as unique as can be. Nothing about them is similar. And so they had very different interests. And then, of course, my son is different from both of them. And as a parent, kind of watching what they would gravitate toward, there truly is something for everyone. Not every kid is going to be excited about athletics or excited about performing arts or fine arts. But there's just such a variety that kids can find success in whatever they're interested in. And I think our staff really work hard to help kids discover what it is that is their interest. And some of those recreation programs before kids even start school, you can get families in to build relationships with other families and get to meet other kids and that kind of thing. So I think that it's a place where we hope everyone finds their place. And that's something to be proud of.
I didn't realize you had mentioned Zeeland Rec, that your team essentially oversees that programming, and that would explain why it does so well, I'm sure. But and so you have from senior level all the way down to, you said what age was the youngest?
They do toddler program.
Toddler program, yeah. So what opportunities or what things are you doing to support the families in the district? You know, in that regard or in a different way? I think a lot of people right now are looking at, you know, preschool care and all different kinds of stuff, right? And you have programming in a variety of ways, but how do you support the families in your district?
We do. We look at programming outside of the traditional school day. You know, we do have a school that operates on a balanced calendar, which is different from the rest of our buildings. That's, for some families, is something that they appreciate, where they're in session parts of the summer and then they have longer breaks throughout the school year. We do have early childhood center programming, you know, around bringing in the children for playgroup opportunities for those families to get to know each other, but, you know, was programming as young as 3 years of age on up. Working with families around summer school opportunities, and we provide something called the Z Kids, which is our wraparound daycare. That staff does a tremendous job because they recognize just how long the school day is in and of itself, and then these kids are often with them before school starts and after the school day ends. So they do that work. They provide summer programming as well with taking kids on field trips. They're in session right now, so we're working with this crazy heat and working around that with that team, but they take them to all sorts of places out in the community and then provide the care on site as well. So trying to do as much as we can. We do hear some concern from families that we don't have enough places and enough spots in terms of, especially for the child care piece. We've expanded it to almost every building, but we still have a desire from families to want more. And that's a constant challenge for us to just, you know, have staffing to support that.
I serve on the board of Outdoor Discovery Center, and there's one of the things we're discussing as just, I think the area as a whole, is there's a huge need for more and more daycare opportunities, you know, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, childcare. And do you have plans or anything you can share in that regard into what the school district can play into that, right? I don't know.
Space is always a concern, right?
Yeah,
I think that we hear that a lot. Space, staffing, and then of course all of those programs are they have to be licensed by the state of Michigan. So it's not just enough to have a space. You have to have space that meets those requirements. And so we continue to look at the buildings that we do have. Fortunately, we don't have a lot of empty space at this point. You know, that's our job to use our resources the best that we can. But we do have our eye on, you know, there's talk at the state level to expand the state-funded preschool program. And what does that do? It's typically for 4-year-old students, but what does that mean for us in order to, you know, make additional space for that programming to happen? And we're bursting at the seams a little bit at our early childhood center, but that's where we've put some of the child care programs out into our elementary buildings as well. So the staffing piece is huge, though. We need people that want to serve in that capacity, and we're continuing to look. That's also a wonderful pipeline for future educators. You know, we have a number of them that maybe started in the Z Kids program and now have their own classroom, and that's a pretty neat celebration. So trying to build that as well.
It feels like during COVID, everybody worked from home, or a lot of people were able to work from home, so that need wasn't as much. Now, more and more people are going back to work. Feels like there's that much more of a need for child care, as well as just, you know, going back to the traditional systems of school.
Absolutely.
Right? So I'm sure that's something you'll think of in the future. Brandi, why don't you tell us a little bit about engagement with families in the community and what you're doing there with the district?
Wow, yeah, that's a great thing for us to talk about because we know that engagement is so important. Our mission is that we're partnered with family and community, and we're striving together to educate the hearts and minds of students. And we know that that is not possible without parents, caregivers, and the community. So the engagement and the communication is vitally important for us. So we do that in a variety of ways. Our doors are always open. Dr. Mendham commonly says that's a common refrain for her. The door is always open to a conversation, however someone in the community wants to engage. We have an active, thriving social media presence where we can promote the positive things our students are doing inside and outside of the classroom. And we communicate regularly from all stakeholder places. So our board members are highly visible in the community. Zeeland is a place where people don't just want to work and live. It's a place they want to settle and really thrive together with their families. And so we listened to that. When we did our strategic planning process, we, in fact, polled our community and the parents there to see what kinds of things they wanted in terms of engagement, what they wanted from our schools. And we had over 3,000 responses that we went through very carefully. And some of those themes of having school be a place where their child felt joy, felt excited to learn, felt safe and secure, those were all very important. So as we engage, we keep those things in mind.
I love that. I have children. I have 4 kids, and my youngest is 2. My oldest is 11. We're starting to get into that, kids getting involved with computers and learning and that sort of thing. But what is your district doing in terms of like advising parents on like technology use and like that sort of thing? Is there discussion around that on like a district level, or how does the school handle that?
It's an important topic for sure. And I think there are so many questions that parents have about what their kids are doing online and how they can best support them and oversee that. And so last year we provided a couple learning opportunities with an organization that specifically focuses on safe use of technology. We offered sessions that were remote for parents to tune into and learn from, and gave them an opportunity to ask questions as well, and then did some sessions with the students, upper elementary through high school.
Yep.
And so giving them that opportunity, our teachers certainly do the digital citizenship work within the classrooms as appropriate across the grades. And then we recently participated in a region-wide initiative around a campaign about artificial intelligence. And so the Ottawa area superintendents came together and did a video, I guess, that was put out there to just warn parents of the dangers of what that can do, and to monitor their students' activity online, and then provided additional resources with that video that was shared widely. And so we know that that's something that we just have to continue to do. The hard part is it continues to evolve and change daily.
Yeah.
And so it's hard to stay ahead of it, but that's why we have to partner together on it. It's school and parents together in that realm, especially with our kids. They take their devices home. So being a one-to-one district, we do have filtering capabilities and monitoring software on those devices, but nothing's foolproof.
Right.
So we absolutely want to make sure that we're partnering together, and appreciate parents that are invested and want to do that with us.
So you actually have like online resources for parents that they can look. Is that something that we could link below even
Absolutely.
to show people?
We can link that video too.
Yeah. I just think that right now as parents of all ages, but especially those teenage years or just before teenage years, your kids are getting so much thrown at them, right? And it's so hard to know what should you do, what shouldn't you do as a parent, what resources are out there to help you. So to know your district is doing that too is awesome.
Well, we were really excited to participate in that artificial intelligence campaign, because I think that is, there's so little that's known about it, but the damage that can result if you're not aware in terms of, and it's really around someone taking your identity. And with everything that's out online now, with people well-meaning that would, maybe post pictures of their family and different things on their social media accounts, that means then that folks that are out there on the other side doing things they shouldn't online have access to these photos, and then they can take your likeness and put their voice. It'll actually sound like your voice on these images, and may not be anything wild at all that you would say or do. And we're really trying to warn kids of those dangers. It's happened to other adults or leaders in various communities, or, athletes, you name it. Nobody is immune from it. And so trying to help put our faces out there with the message to say, just really be aware of what your kids are doing online. For sure. Yeah. And I think it's a greater issue than most of us even realize, probably, right? In terms of what kids can be exposed to. And so appreciate that. We'll definitely link that below. The AI stuff is just wild. It really is. Yeah. And how quickly it's changing as well, too. What I'd love to learn more about is like, what resources do you have for families? I know we just talked a little bit about the AI space and safe use of technology. What other things do you have available for families that they should know about, especially for Zeeland Public Schools?
Well, one of them that comes to mind has to do with one of our goals of having a safe adult for every child to go to in our buildings. My own children attend the school. They're in upper elementary, and they have very, very healthy relationships with a multitude of educators and staff members within our district. And we're fortunate. And we also recognize that every single child that walks through our doors is a precious gift, and they all have unique needs. And so we want to make sure that our community knows that we are committed to being intentional about having a safe, comfortable, open staff member, teacher for every single child who comes in. And that has been something we focused, especially at the secondary level with, as students are, more transient in different spaces throughout the school day. So that is one resource that I can think of.
Absolutely. And I would just say, Brandi mentioned before, it's an open door policy. The work that we do together is really, we're hoping that parents just feel, very able to call their school building, whether it's their teacher or their principal or the office staff, to help us understand what need they might be looking for. For those that have significant needs, we just met yesterday to talk about a new resource we're going to use that will help us to gather very specific needs that might be around clothing or food or other really foundational needs, that we can gather those resources. We have a staff member who is a point person that's been doing that work for our families that are most in need for quite a while, but this tool will help us to really pull those requests together and make sure that we're moving through those and meeting the needs the best that we can. So truly, school, we recognize we're there to offer education, but we know that it's so much more than that. And so it may be something like food, it may be clothing, it may be mental health supports, it may be additional tutoring supports. It's all of those things, and we just want to make sure that families understand they need to reach out and just connect with us, help us understand their specific situation, and then we can align them. If it's resources we don't have, we've got great partnerships in the community.
I was going to say, do you I think of Kids Food Basket and how they provide sack lunches. I don't know if you work with that organization directly or not, but you're providing resources like that for the students. What if somebody doesn't know what that is? Could you give them a little bit of just an example,
sure,
an after school meal, if you will, or
definitely, or sack lunches to take home. It's just a wonderful resource for those families that are in need, and it's done in such a tactful way that the kids don't feel ostracized at being a part of that. That they can send sack lunches home, particularly on weekends when food may be scarce, and just making sure that we keep an eye on those particular kids that need that.
And there's no cost to the family for that either, right? Yeah, that's really cool. I love those programs. One thing I really wanted to ask you about, I think there's something new that's kind of occurring in your district right now regarding maybe an athletic complex, possibly. Could you give us a little backstory on that?
Yeah.
What's happening?
People won't find this surprising with me, because my goal always in this position is to make sure that I highlight certainly the athletics that we have, but absolutely always the instructional side of the house as well. I think we make sure that we balance those pieces, but this is something that is new and people have been excited about. I think they've been patient, and we appreciate that. We were able to finally obtain property to construct a new athletic complex that'll be just north of our high schools, and we hope that it will be completed in the spring of 2026. Construction is a challenge sometimes, but that's our goal. We were really pleased with our most recent bid effort. We received a record number of bids for this particular project, and the board moved through after Finance Committee had reviewed all of those and approved that those bids about a week ago now. That particular complex will have 16 tennis courts that'll be shared by the two high schools, and then there will be a soccer and lacrosse field for each high school, concession stand, bathrooms, bleachers, etc. Just beautiful. That we had seen the renderings from our construction team. It's really classy, like the rest of our buildings. We're excited to have that space available for our kids. We know that people wish it could be done sooner, and we do too. But we're going to work, with the team through this and hope for the best weather that cooperates so that we can get started right away and wrap that up spring of 26.
Love that. I'm sure some of the pickleball fans in the world are going to ask, is there any pickleball opportunities?
It's just all the rage, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
What I want to make sure that I do say, and I try to make sure I mention this often, but we are so deeply grateful for the support from the community. This is a part of our 2021 bond project, and was intended to be done around this timeline as we're launching it. And so just really appreciate that support that came from the bond.
No, I think that's phenomenal. And you guys, one of the things that I always hear about in our line of work is just not only your programming, the teachers you have, but your athletic programming that you have. And so to have the facilities to expand that and grow that are going to be great, because you already do well. right, at all of that. So.
And our latest bond that's now nearing completion with these final projects is multifaceted. There was something for every program, for every learner, and that was very intentional. And so as we approach these final steps, I would encourage, and maybe we can link this at the bottom of the video,
for sure,
for people or prospective families to check out our bond update website that has pictures and a blog that just encompasses all of the ways that our incredible community support has put forth energy and investment towards making all of these spaces the best possible places for learners.
I love that. But clearly your district is... They've got a history of doing well. You've got great plans for the future. Anything you would like to leave with our listeners as far as, well, obviously a bunch of resources linked below, but like, what is it? I know that you've got this great new complex coming in. Anything for the future that they should look forward to, or anything you can think of?
I'll offer something that is for the future, but it's also really reminiscent of the past. And when I talked about the strategic planning work that was unveiled this school year, one of the things that we went back to visit, in addition to the mission and vision, was kind of our tagline or our slogan. And something that was shared with me from the minute I walked into the central office 10 years ago to get to know more about the district was that Zeeland Public Schools was a place where kids were safe, valued, and loved. And people just readily say that all of the time. And not long after I started there, a team came together and we added what we felt was really an important piece of that: safe, valued, loved, and learning. And those are the words that kind of capture what we do best, and is what we want to continue to go back to all of the time and visit. But as we look ahead, whether it's our instruction, our athletics, our fine arts, our performing arts, it's all around having a space where our kids feel safe, valued, loved, and learning.
I love that. Your mission, vision are perfect for, I think, of what we hear about your district and how the students interact with their teachers, and I love that. Just appreciate you both joining us today, explaining more about your school district. Thank you for doing everything you're doing in the community as well, too. It shows. You have a great school district, and we're excited to see the future for your schools as well as the students. And so appreciate you both coming on today. And if any of you have questions, we'll link below contact details for the district. I think you said a tour is available at any time if somebody wants to learn more about the district as well, too. So
yes, we want to share our schools with you, and we recognize that nothing replaces the human connection. And so please, for people who are looking around and trying to find the best fit for their family, look at those resources available, but also just give us a call. We invite that, and we want to walk you around school buildings and have you meet educators and see the playground and the lunchroom and the classrooms to see if that's a great fit for you and your child. Love that.
Thank you both so much. And that's the West Michigan Minute. We'll have more podcasts coming out here soon. And see the details below, the links below with all the details. Thank you both.
Thanks for having us.